This entire scene is built around one simple idea. Repetition defines space. There's no complex modeling here, no geometry nodes, no sculpting. In this video, I'll break down how this scene was built step by step, and more importantly, how to think about arrays as a design tool rather than just a modifier. I started with a long ground plane and a basic cube with a very slight bevel on it. You can even shade auto smooth if you like. From here, I added a simple line array. I changed the offset to y-axis because that's where my scene is facing. I increased the count to 5 and then went down to the randomization panel to add some random details. Here you can add some random values to the offset, rotation or scale to make the structure look more interesting. I added some random offset on the x-axis. Now it's time to add the second array and build the wall upwards. Offset it on the z-axis and change the count to 3 or 5. Now we can add a second layer of randomization in this new array. You can slightly increase the scale randomization or offset it on the x or y axis for a more jittered placement of the blocks. Once I was happy with it, I went back to the first array and increased the count so that we can build the full wall now. Since we had offset on the y axis, increasing the count increases the length of the wall. One more interesting feature I found in the Blender 5.0 array is the flipping feature under the scale. Increasing it slightly randomly flips some of the blocks around. And now we have our master block template ready and it's time to build the corridor. Once one wall works, the rest of the corridor is just reuse. I moved the wall to the starting position and increased the count in the first array even further. The count depends on how long you want your corridor to be. Then I duplicated the wall and moved it to the opposite side of the corridor. And then rotate another copy 90 degrees to create the ceiling. This is where arrays really shine. One system gives you an entire architectural space. Still very clean, still very controlled. Right now everything feels too perfect, and that's actually a problem. Perfect symmetry feels safe, boring even. So I added more subtle randomization, small offsets, tiny variations in the different wall sections. Before going any further, let's lock the camera. I'm using a 2.35:1 aspect ratio to give the scene a cinematic horizontal feel. Framing early helps you make better decisions later, especially with the scale and lighting. You can set the aspect ratio to 1920 by 816 pixels, or double that if you're rendering in 4K. Quick pro tip before we continue, enable cavity in the viewport settings and switch to a high contrast matte cap. This makes it much easier to read form and depth while you're working, especially in scenes like this where everything is subtle. Now, for the focal point, the geometric black hole. This is built as a completely separate system. I added our favorite default cube back in and press backslash to isolate it in your scene so that we can build better. Subdivide it a bunch of times in the edit mode and select certain square faces and extrude them outwards for a hi-fi tech look. This is done to give it some more geometry that catches the light better. This will help differentiate the cubes in the geometric black hole from the cube walls that we have. Apply the scale and now we are ready to add an array modifier. The new array in Blender 5.0 is really a game changer. It used to be such a pain to make circular arrays, but it's so simple now. Change the mode to circle and increase the radius to a desired value. Now you can also change the count to make the circle look more or less populated. I pressed backslash again to bring the cube back into our scene and then adjusted the radius so that it sits just outside the walls. Now you can increase the count to make it full. We have our first layer done. You can also go to randomize and change the scale and X, Y, Z offset if you want to make it look a little more organic. Now it's time for the magic. Stack a transform array on top to gradually collapse the structure inward. Small values are crucial here. Transform arrays multiply changes, so even tiny numbers can get out of control very quickly. If you want to see how the array modifier in Blender 5.0 works, you can check out my full video that's linked in the card above to the top right. I changed the offset on the Y and gave it a slight rotation on the Y axis and then increased the count to make a collapsing structure. The goal isn't chaos, it is controlled distortion. You can change the count and rotation according to your liking. Scale the spiral so that it fits just outside your scene, and you can also make it intersect with the floor plane if you feel like it. Now the scene is almost ready. We have our walls, we have our geometric black hole, and now it's time to go to the lighting so that we can set the mood right. The geometry is very simple, but the lighting and fog will push it to the next level. I added a cube and scaled it across the entire scene, made the material a volume scatter with a very low density and high anisotropy. Then I added one single area light, which is at the very far end of the geometric black hole. Increase the strength to a high value so that it illuminates the corridor. You can adjust the strength to your desired value. With the structure in place, lighting does most of the storytelling. I kept it minimal. One strong source near the black hole, and I added another soft ambient light just near the camera to reveal enough of the corridor. I wanted to add some more detail to the floor, so I duplicated the cube that we made earlier for the geometric black hole, removed the array modifiers, and added a scatter modifier on the floor plane. It's a new modifier in Blender 5.0 and it's amazing. I just selected the cube object, added some scale randomness, rotation randomness, and adjusted the density to distribute the cubes across my floor plane. These act like debris or dust, subtle, but they help sell the scale and depth. Again, this is background detail. It should support the scene, not distract from it. At this point, I add a temporary bloom pass in the compositor. Just add a clear node, set it to bloom, and connect it between the nodes. This isn't final, it's just for Lookdev. Bloom helps me judge contrast and light intensity while I continue working. Let's talk materials. There's a cube covering the whole scene which has a volume scatter with a high anisotropy and low density. For the floors, I wanted a distressed concrete tile look. So I made a new material, set the base color to a dark color. I added a brick texture node and connected it to the height of a bump node and plugged it in to the normal. But it wasn't doing much, so we need to add something else. If you have the Node Wrangler add-on enabled, you can click on any node in the shader editor and press Ctrl T to get a mapping node. I also wanted some color variation, so I connected a noise texture to the base color with a color ramp in between. For the roughness, I selected a free surface imperfection texture. You can find many of these online and brought it in to Blender. Connect this texture to the roughness input and you can add a color ramp in between to control the strength. This gives us a very natural looking roughness map of the kind of surfaces we see in real life, not too perfect. Then we need to go to the material settings and change the displacement type from bump to displacement and bump. Now I took the brick texture and connected it to displacement node height and plugged it into the displacement of the shader. But shader displacement also needs a lot of geometry, so I took the floor plane and subdivided it a bunch of times and even added a subdivision modifier set to a level of 2 or 3. Now if we increase the displacement strength to 1, we can see the displacement in the shader. Adjust the strength according to the look that you want. If you go with 1, you will get a very blocky surface. I chose a lower value because I just wanted subtle displacement. You can change the subdivision levels to make the displacement higher resolution. Subdividing the base mesh also helps. I reduced the displacement strength and I was happy with the look that I had now. Coming to the fog material is just a volume scatter with a low density. You can increase the anisotropy so that the light scatters more towards the camera. At this point, I also adjusted the density, scale and randomness of the scatter modifier that we use to distribute the cubes across the floor plane. Now it's time for the walls. I just made a new material and set the name to walls. I chose a grayish base color. Added a simple noise texture to the roughness map to get some light breakup on our wall surfaces. You need a very low scale and you can increase the detail if you like. I added another noise texture into the height of a bump node and plugged it in to the normal. This noise texture had a very high scale, about 500, 1000 or 2000. To give it a gritty concrete look. Now I selected the other wall and the ceiling and pressed Ctrl L, link materials, so that the material is applied across all the walls. I also added a color ramp for the noise texture that's going into the roughness to adjust the roughness of the wall materials so that it catches more light. At this point, I was very happy with how it was looking. Let's take it to the next level with some compositing magic. This is where everything comes together. Blender 5.0 has some amazing compositing nodes. We already had bloom, I added subtle chromatic aberration, a bit of sensor noise, and a vignette. The sensor noise is absolutely amazing because usually CGI looks very perfect and not real. By adding the sensor noise node, we can simulate realistic camera sensor noise and add some realism to our scenes. You can tweak the look more in other software, but there's also a new tune image node in Blender which lets us do color correction. So I added a tune image node, increase the contrast a little bit of color boost, clarity, detail, and if you want you can use sharpen as well. The final look is completely up to you and you can use your own values. Experiment with the new compositing nodes in Blender 5.0 and try it out yourself. Next up, we have camera animation. I added a very simple slow push-in. The camera animation is intentionally slow, almost imperceptible. If the movement is obvious, it breaks the mood. Here, the camera feels like it's being pulled forward, not moving by choice. I also selected the geometric black hole and added a very slight rotation to it in the anti-clockwise direction. This breaks the static look and makes the scene feel more alive. With everything in place, it's time for the final render. This is where all the small decisions finally pay off. And that's the scene, built with arrays, shaped with restraint. If this helped, subscribe and go build something unsettling.